3 reasons why salespeople don't get enough referrals. One is because they don't ask for referrals. The second reason that I've seen is that they'll have some weird way of asking, some passive way of asking. For example, they might hand out their business card and say, if you can think of anybody that'd be a good fit for what I do, let me know. The third thing is sometimes they don't ask effectively. For example, if you ask, do you know of anyone who ... the natural response to that is, no, I can't think of anyone. So the way that we ask for referrals has a lot to do with whether we get a lot of referrals. And a lot of times my clients will say, I get referrals, I get a couple a week. That's not a lot of referrals. You should expect at least 2 referrals from every appointment that you go on. And I know when I don't ask for referrals effectively, I don't get them. I get objections just like anyone else. When I don't ask effectively, what I hear is something like this. Well, I just can't think of anyone. Or, do you have a card? Can you email me? If you give me a call next week, I'll have thought of somebody by then. Or they say something like, well, here, let me get your number. I'll have him call you. Again, if we're hearing those things, then we're not asking for referrals effectively. One principle to asking for referrals that you need to know is that it's never just one question that you ask. There is always a transition. There's a setup to it, and it's a process to asking for referrals. Another principle that you should know is that the easier it is for us to have someone think of someone to refer us to, the more likely they are to give us referrals. The technique that I'm going to share with you right now is called the cell phone referral technique. It's a very, very powerful technique that makes it easy for people to give you a lot of warm referrals. Now, when you think about it, the reason why this is so powerful is because we don't store our numbers in a Rolodex anymore. We don't store too many numbers in our brains, but where we store our numbers are on our cell phone. And what do we always have with us? We always have our cell phones with us. That's our Rolodex that we carry with us everywhere these days. So how this technique works, the first step is the transition. I said there's always a transition, there's always a setup. The first step is the transition. How you can transition here is really simple. At the end of the meeting, and this is a good technique to use with someone that you've met for the very first time even, at the end of that meeting, you can wrap up by saying, thank you so much for meeting with me. This has really been great. Do you have your cell phone on you? And they'll say yes, and you wait for them to pull it out, and you say, I want to give you my personal number for you to put in your phone. If you ever need anything, feel free to give me a call. And you give them your number. My number is ... You wait for them to put it in their phone and say, again, if you ever need anything, just give me a call 24/7. I want to provide that level of service to you. Powerful setup. And if you think about it, at that point, how do they feel? They're excited. They have those warm, fuzzy feelings in their tummy. They're thinking, wow, this person's different. This person's special. Because what do other salespeople do? At the end of the meeting, they hand a business card. Usually it's an office number on there. And what happens to that business card? That business card goes in the trash or goes in a drawer, but you are making them feel special. You're making yourself vulnerable by giving your personal cell phone number. You're also giving it to them to put in their phone. It's in their phone. They're not going to lose it. And you're in their phone with their friends and family, the people that they care about. So that brings us to step 2. Step 2 is the ask. And how you can ask in this example is just so simple because they have their cell phone in their hand, and right as they are hitting save to save your number in their phone, you just follow it up by saying, who do you know in there? You kind of shrug your shoulders, point to the phone. Who do you know in there who'd be open to talking to me? And you wait. And notice I keep it pretty general. because I don't want them to rule anybody out. And if I phrase it this way, what naturally happens is they take their thumb right off that save button and they start scrolling down through their contacts. It's the natural next step. You will get lots of referrals this way. Here's a couple bonus tips for the ask. Notice that you should say, who do you know, not do you know. Do you know asks for a yes or no, and it's a lot easier for people to say no to us than yes. But if you ask, who do you know, that's assumptive, like they're gonna know somebody. Another thing that you should do, and you should notice here, is that you can use memory joggers. As they're thinking and they're coming up with people, we should give them examples of who do you know in your neighborhood? Who do you know that you go to church with? Who do you know that has kids that play with your kids? And we can use those memory joggers to get them to think of people that might be a good referral. Maybe people that are getting married or people that are changing careers. But use memory joggers. And whenever we first ask, we need to shut up. When we say, who do you know who'd be good for me to talk to? Shut your mouth and let them process. Oftentimes we talk ourselves out of whatever we just asked for by continuing to talk and not letting them think. So the first ask, who do you know who'd be good for me to talk to? Just shrug your shoulders, break eye contact, and shut your mouth. And then after you ask, each memory jogger should also break eye contact and shut your mouth and wait for them to process. Another tip is to ask anyone else. Because oftentimes people will give us one referral and then we just take it and we get excited. Sweet, I got a referral, when we could have gotten many more. So those are some tips to getting a lot when you're asking. Okay, the third step. So you don't want to just stop there. Many people get referrals and they think, sweet, I got referrals, yes. But we want to take it a couple steps further. The third step is to get pre-approach. Get pre-approach. Pre-approach is the background information that you want to know before you call on someone. A good question to ask is, how do you know each other? Is he a pretty interesting guy? Anything unique about him? If you ask that, you'll get some pretty good information that's going to help you to connect with that person. Like if you found out that they've known each other for 10 years and their kids are the same age, that's definitely going to help you to connect. And then the fourth thing that you want to do is you want to set it up to be successful. How you can do this is you can say, a lot of times people like to give their friends a heads up that I'll be giving them a call. So if you wanted to shoot them a text or send them an email, you don't have to tell them too much about me. Just tell them that they're really going to like talking to me. If you say this, often what people do is they take their thumb right off the contacts and they go right over to their text messages and they send their friend a text. If they send their friend a text saying, hey, Emmy's going to call you, she's really cool, take her call, does that help? Absolutely. So that's the formula. That is the cell phone referral technique. Use it. It definitely works. This is one of the techniques that we teach that can not just get you 2 or 3 referrals, but can get you 8 or 12 or 22 referrals in one sitting.